Hello and welcome to Talk Cookie Game. It's just finished. Everton 4, West Ham United 1 in the Carabao Cup. The Hammers are out. Gonzo.
That's disgusting. I'm absolutely disgusted, actually. Slow, ponderous, disinterested, indecisive surrender. I thought it was absolutely horrendous what I saw today. You're going to ask me for a man in a match later on. Sorry, I'm probably going to completely skew the order of the running of the schedule here. This is not usually how we do things. But I tell you what, I'm absolutely disgusted by that. I thought that was absolutely horrendous, Geo. Look, you start and we'll go through it. But I am really, really wound up by what I've seen out there tonight. Excuse me, let me mute my phone.
I'm a bit half and half, to be honest with you. I expected it. When I had a big concern prior to the game, and within about 10 minutes of the game, I thought, I know what's going to happen now. I thought we had an opportunity to do something, and we did not take said opportunity. But we'll go through the game quickly. I think you're going to calm down as we get through it, and I think I'm going to get worked up as we go through it. So this could be a good viewing. 10 minutes in, it was 1-0. That's all it took, though. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, ball over the top by Michael Keane. Calvert-Lewin was in, and I have to say, magnificent first touch. That first touch is unbelievable. However, he just ran in a straight line, ball over the top, touch, puts it past Randolph, 1-0 Everton.
Well, the only thing I can say about that is, I say the only thing, I'll probably say several things. I mean, the rumour was that Chelsea were looking at Declan Rice as a centre-half. I think we can rest easy as West Ham fans tonight if that's what they're looking at. They won't be turning up to buy Declan Rice after tonight's performance. It got the better of him there. It was an excellent first touch. But let's be fair, I thought the way Keane turned away from, I think possibly it was Lanzini, was quite clever and quite sharp. But that was not anything spectacular, that ball over the top. It was just a ball over the top. It wasn't even particularly played with a lot of pace, yet still he managed. I thought he got tangled. I thought his feet got a bit tangled underneath with Declan Rice. I actually thought Randolph came out really well. Oh, Randolph did everything he could to come out like Schmeichel used to, if you like, to try and close down the angles. But I mean, he finished really smartly and finished really well. I say it put us on the back foot. We were already on the back foot even before that. Anyway, we'd actually shown nothing. We weren't attacking anyway to start with. And unfortunately, that was going to be a theme of the evening, what happened there with that particular duel.
I think it's a bit naive from Ben Johnson, really. Ben Johnson's a bit behind the rest of the defence, keeping him on side, and it's a bit worrying. We're playing cup games and we were playing League One opposition before, but pretty much every game now, Ben Johnson's been making an error of some sort. We'll get on to his performance later as well. It's not a good showing. I mean, if that went to VAR, the penalty, the goal would have stood. It was onside. 14th minute, just quickly, Lanzini went down. Was that a penalty for you?
No, I don't think it was a penalty, but I do think had it happened in the middle of the pitch, the referee would have given a foul.
Yeah, it wasn't a penalty for me either. I know a lot of fans thought it was, but I just thought I'd get your opinion. It wasn't for me. Everton had the ball in the back in that again, the 21st minute from Richarlison, but that was ruled out correctly for offside. Lanzini had a couple of chances towards the end of the first half. Ball in from Yarn Malenko, didn't quite make contact. Then he unusually almost scored from a header, but that went just wide. But at half time it was 1-0. Now, I've skimmed through the first half because I want your thoughts on the first half now.
I thought we had no creativity. We were slow. We were so slow. I think you just look at that team, and if you're a coach, a manager, you look at that and you think we've got to get some pace into that team somehow. Yet, bearing in mind that we were slow, we seemed to have a relatively high line. Why would you do that? That's a weird thing to do, right? Because continually, the ball was on for Everton to get runners in behind our defence. It was just always on. I mean, it looked like they were trying to play Richarlison a number of times. He kept on getting through. Wonderful save, by the way, from Darren Randolph in the first half to stop. I mean, despite conceding 4 goals, probably came out all right tonight in many respects, Randolph, because he made 2 or 3 really good saves. I really did. I thought, we're not threatening a goal. There are players, I don't know how you want to do this in terms of the individual. How many players didn't turn up tonight? How many players were awful? I was screaming, get Anderson off the pitch now. Get him off the pitch at half time. Granted, straight away afterwards, he lays the ball off for Snodgrass, but I'm not accepting that. He didn't prove me wrong at all. He is he's a bottler. He's just pulling out of everything. He's no 50-50 balls are ever contested. Even when he gets into a race alongside someone, he doesn't particularly want to win it, and he'll just turn around or he'll bottle out. Everything's half-assed. Nothing. He can't be bothered about it. And it wasn't just him. Look, Sebastian Haller was completely isolated. We couldn't create any chances at all. I didn't recognise. I don't know. That was the clone of Yarmolenko or something like that, or Yarmolenko's useless brother or something on the pitch as well. So many players had just gone into hiding. I couldn't believe it, and I didn't think they were brilliant. They're going to look brilliant, Everton, right? They had players dropping like flies. Look, they played better than us. I thought Rodriguez was quite creative and quite smart, quite a cunning player, isn't he, really? And I thought, obviously, you look at the end of the match and you see the 4-1, but it's not like... Basically, if we'd have played against them with the team that we played against Wolves with and played like that, I wouldn't have seen a massive problem. I think we would have given them a good game. But we just seemed completely disinterested and devoid of any ideas, any pace, any passion.
Any tactics, I think. My problem with the first half was Snodgrass and Noble. They were completely overrunning there. How we thought a 33-year-old Snodgrass and a 33-year-old Mark Noble would compete with Sigurdsson, Allan and Delphin there. It was just ridiculous. I know Snodgrass went on to score a fantastic goal, but I don't care. I thought Snodgrass was okay on the ball with his passing and stuff. But we just lost the ball. We just lost that game in the middle of the park. We had nothing for us in the first half. Everton was just running at us constantly. Every time Everton got the ball, they were just running down the middle of the pitch, and there was nothing we could do to stop it. They were outnumbered. They're slow, but they're also outnumbered. It's just an impossible job for them. But the first half, I thought we were still in at half-time. It was 1-0, and I thought a couple of tweaks, and somehow I think we'll be all right. The thing with Yarmolenko is that we exposed Yarmolenko's weakness. We asked him to defend. James Rodriguez isn't the greatest at defending, so what does Ancelotti do? He puts 3 centre midfielders in there, so he doesn't have to defend that much. If he gets caught out not defending, it's alright. So what do? With Yarmolenko, arguably our most creative player? We give him a role which has massive defensive duties up against a very attacking left back tonight. He just couldn't do it, Yarmolenko, and he didn't want to do it. It cost us a goal later on in the game, but he's blowing out his arse by half time, Yarmolenko. He was knackered. I agree with what you're saying about Anderson. He was pulling out, was challenging and stuff. I thought Ben Johnson was struggling. I know we've been told constantly that Ben Johnson's much better than Ngakia. I'm yet to see it, Gonzo. I've yet to see the evidence that Ben Johnson's better than Ngakia. I can't just judge it on tonight, but Richarlison was having fun up against him. I was actually glad when him and Rodriguez swapped sides, because I thought if Richarlison stayed out there on the left, he could have had a hat-trick in that first half. He had one in the back of the net, and Randolph made a really good save for the other one. I just thought he was taking the piss out of us, but there was no one doing anything. I'm aware I'm skipping to the end of the game. I'll tell you what I hate a lot. It's when we finish a game with no bookings. That would insinuate no tackles have gone in, and I felt like that in the first half. I felt like there was no crunchy tackles. There's nothing. But how are the players supposed to get up for it when our owner went on TalkSport and referred to them as a reserve team and then complained about how much the match was going to cost? It's the culture from the very top. David Sullivan made it obvious he does not want to be in this competition on TalkSport during the week, and it doesn't excuse the players tonight, but it's just the whole mentality of the club, and it stems from him to the manager and then to what we saw from the players tonight. A handful of the players were committed, and that's it at best. Anyway, the second half, we scored within a minute of the restart. Gonzo 1-1. Anderson laid it off to Snodgrass, and it was a fantastic goal.
It was a good finish. I thought the cross from Johnson was overhit. I thought Anderson's first touch was good, and he laid it off to Snodgrass. About as good as you're going to get out of me for tonight, by the way. But Snodgrass did finish well for it, yeah, certainly. Randolph made a good save almost immediately after that, by the way. Another good save.
55 minutes, though. We'll skip through the goals, Gons, and we'll get to the end so we can have another rant. 55 minutes, though. There's 2-1 Everton. They're back in front. Richarlison comes down the left. Seems to just have the whole park to himself. He just skips in, unchallenged, still unchallenged, until he's right in the middle of the pitch. Then he decides to take a hit, and it's Sunday League stuff. This do not turn your back. You get told it. Your kid's getting into serious football now, if you like it. I mean, that's what he'll be getting told. Just don't turn your back on a shot. How he's done that, Declan, I don't know.
If he did that in a wall, he gets slaughtered for that. I don't know what he was that you got to. I can't believe I'm saying this about Rice. I really can't. You've got to man up. You've got to face that. You've got to stick your head out. You've got to stick your chest out, and you've got to take the ball in the face. He went like this. Literally, he went like that. I cannot believe what I was seeing there, particularly off what that. Oh, look, the only thing I can possibly offer in defence, which is more than Declan did tonight, is that he's got so used to the midfield position, he's now just a midfielder, because it was a horror show tonight. But he's not culpable, because there's something at this point that then goes on. I know we've got 2 more goals to discuss, and I know you will agree with this. We've not spoken yet, and I know that so many people watching this are going to be feeling the same way. We had so we're 2-1 down at this point that we're discussing. We're still in the game. We are still in the game. We appear to be taking the competition seriously by having so many first-team players on the bench. And you know what I'm going to go and say now? At that point, bearing in mind, I don't care what the excuse is, all right? I don't care that the Yarmolenko was knackered and Felipe Anderson, whatever. But bearing in mind how crap everyone was, why don't we take Felipe Anderson off, right? I don't care. Put Masuaku there. Take Yarmolenko off. Put Bowen there. Sort the midfield out. Stick Souček in the middle. Let's try and get something out of this game. You may have different substitutions, but any substitution, something to try and impact the game, because we're still in it at 2-1. They've got players dropping by. They can't make another substitution at this point, Geo, right? At that point, Everton did not look like a confident team at that point. They were dropping like flies. We should then go for it. Grasp the nettle. And I'm thinking, hold on, there's no one warming up. There's no one warming up at all. Now, with Moyes, I like to think I play the ball and not the man. I don't go in expecting the worst from Moyes. If Moyes does well, I will praise him for doing well. I'm not hung up on this substitutions thing. I didn't blame him for not doing them against Arsenal because I thought we were in the ascendancy, right? Today, we weren't. Today was the time. Now do it. Go and win the game. And the only thing I can suggest is I'm looking at it and it's ticking. It's 75 minutes and it's 80 minutes. And actually, they want us to go out. That's the only thing I could think when I saw no one warming up. Obviously, Stuart Pearce would have been on the phone. I think there was a point that actually said, you know what? Let's not bother. Let's keep everyone fit. Let's keep everyone fresh. I reckon they looked at Everton and thought, actually, a few of them have got injured. Let's not bother. Let's keep everyone fit and fresh for Leicester, and we won't bother. I don't think they started by throwing the competition, but at 2-1 down, we threw the competition today, and you will not persuade me otherwise. And how dare they? How dare they throw our cup competition, what is so important to so many of us?
I completely agree. You know I don't like his subs generally anyway, so I can't say I'm surprised. But at half-time, I thought there was an opportunity at half-time. We were 1-0 down. I thought, look, we need to tweak it, that's all. Get Declan out of the centre-back. Get someone. You've got Obona on the bench. Get Obona into the back and get Declan into the midfield there. Tighten up your midfield. One sub is all it takes. A little tweaking here and there. And we did nothing. But it goes back to what I was saying. Snodgrass and Noble, they were so far behind. They've just found out tonight that Dingana's been sold. That's how far behind play they were. And it was down to the tactics and the lack of subs. Like you said, Everton and made 3 subs. They had to finish the game with that 11. You now seen Carlo Ancelotti's final plan. That's all he could do. He had nothing up his sleeve. That was his team to finish with. And yes, they've got good players and stuff, but I don't even think they were playing at their 10 out of 10 Everton tonight. They didn't have to. But it's the cup game, and we just didn't bother. We did not bother. We didn't want to win it. The manager didn't want to win it. And it's just it's disgusting, to be honest with you. And it's the whole culture thing, though. Our owner literally gave us the heads up during the week, or last week, whenever it was, by saying about the money, and he called this team the reserve team. But at the same time, how can our manager ask the owner for money to spend in the transfer market when he won't use his subs? If I was him, Sullivan, I'd be saying, you only use 11 players every week. Why would I buy you more players? What's the point of you having a bench? You just don't do it. Carlo Ancelotti must have been laughing his arse off, and I will keep on repeating this because I genuinely believe it. Moyes is the easiest manager in the league to play against in play. In the 90 minutes, if he doesn't get it right at the start, you're fucked, because he will not change it during the game. Carlo Ancelotti at 1-0 up, I know we took it back to 1-0, but at half-time, Ancelotti would have been rubbing his hands thinking, they've got nothing about them, lads, don't you worry. We're doing better at that on the left, we're doing better on the right, we're doing better down the middle, don't worry about it. Their bench looks alright, but they won't use it, don't worry. At 1-1, he might have had a small panic, especially when his player starts getting injured. The fact is, he's had to do 3 forced changes, Ancelotti, and his subs were still better than ours. He literally had to do them 3 subs. They were forced upon him. It's embarrassing. It's thoroughly frustrating. We've thrown that tonight. Up until they scored the 3rd goal, which was in the 76 minutes. 76 minutes when the game was over. Until then, we had opportunities to make substitutions. Plenty of opportunities. And the people on the bench are not poor. One guy's just scored 2 goals at the weekend. The other one cost £25 million. Masuaku's one of our most informed players. They're the people on the bench, and if you're not going to use them, what's the point in having them? It's the Jordan Hugo thing. If you're not going to play him, why have you got him? And this goes to every single one of them. Why are you not bringing your players on? I don't understand it at all. Come the end of the game, Felipe Anderson was clearly having a fucking nightmare. Yarmolenko, he was just fucking dead. He could not move for the last 10 minutes. Snodgrass and Noble were huffing and puffing. I think they were trying, Snodgrass and Noble. They just had far too much to do. It's no surprise their last goal comes from the middle of the park. There's 2 of them there. Balbuena's about 5 yards out of position, trying to do the work of a defensive midfielder. Could have enough players in. Anyway, it was made 3-1. Gonzo Iwobi twists and turns, gets his shot away, gets pushed out in there. There's Calvin Lewin with our centre-back once again. Standing still, yeah.
Watch him. As you say, maybe I'm calming down. I'm a little bit embarrassed. I mean, he's such a good player for us, Rice. I'm a little bit embarrassed to even, keep saying it because obviously, he played a part in all 4 goals, didn't he? So it is a little bit embarrassing. What I will say is, at least he cared. There were a lot of players that didn't care. Rice cared today. He was just flipping useless. I mean, useless, right, today. But he was trying to drive. Well, bless him, he was going to try and be a midfielder at one point. But, I mean, his main job tonight was defending, and he had a hand in all 4 goals, you could argue. But, yeah, look, it was a decent... Iwobi should have been closed down more before he called that anyway. Let's be absolutely fair about that as well. But that was the killer goal, actually. That was the killer goal. Before that, I thought we're in it. But... Whilst I will, you can blame the individuals for that, and we will, and we do. We could have grasped the nettle. We had the real chance, for all the reasons I said, to make the substitutions, to change the flow of that game completely, and we didn't do it. And we invited that upon ourselves. We can have no complaints about that because we almost asked for that to happen.
Yeah, 4-1. 7 minutes later, Calvin Lewin getting his hat trick. Rodriguez slips it to Sigurdsson, who slips it to Calvin Lewin, who's essentially 1-on-1 and tucks it away. Fantastic little team goal by Everton, but our lot, all of the players are out of position or standing still, or both.
I mean, I don't know to what extent switching formations impacts it, but I guess if you're going to switch formation, I know it's different teams, but if you're going to also switch formations but also switch players' positions, so we've got Cresswell, who has been playing as a centre-back in a 3-5-2, call it what you will. He's now playing as a left-back in a 4-3-2-1 or whatever. You've got Declan Rice, who's normally playing as a central midfielder in a 3-5-2. He's now playing as a centre-half, as one of 2 centre-halves. I mean, there's a lot going on there, And then you've got all these different players going on as well. There's lots to blame. Individual performances, the message from the top, the tactical plan, the lack of substitutions, players not being good enough, players being slow, players not being interested. I mean, there's one in particular who must not pull on a West Ham shirt again, really, as far as I'm concerned. But I couldn't. We've lost before. And we've lost many times, and not many when we've done these. I don't know how many videos we've done. 1,000, 2,000. I don't know. I'm rarely as agitated as this. I can tell you that, and that is because, and I'll go back to the word. It was surrender. Today was complete surrender and acceptance, and that is not good enough.
I have to agree. The cup's something I always look forward to see us turn up with that attitude, and everything was wrong. Everything was wrong today. We got outdone we got tactical outdone by the start. That midfield pairing should never have been a midfield pairing from the off. When they got Everton's team sheet, West Ham, when they looked at Everton's team sheet an hour and a half before the game, there should have been something thinking, fucking hell, are we sure about this? Are we really sure that we want to go with just these two? How Lanzini's almost got a free role. He's got no defensive duties to do here. But yeah, isn't really impacting the game going forward. Is slightly concerning. I think Yarmolenko's he got exposed tonight for his lack of defensive attributes. There's just none of it. That Nku boy from Marseille looked really, really good. But Yarmolenko made it easy for him. He was able to run down that line willy-nilly. Felipe Anderson summed himself up tonight. He got into the most obvious and best shooting position out of any one of our players tonight, and literally went to kick the ball and stopped halfway through his strike, and the ball rolled away from him. Honestly, you gave Felipe Anderson the gun, shot Tupac. Tupac would be 49 years old today. It's just ridiculous. The whole thing was wrong tonight, Gonzo. It's just the subs have really irritated me. I'm getting used to it, but I just can't believe we sat there. And it was almost like a tap in for Moyes to do subs. If it goes wrong, so what? You tried something in the cup, it didn't work. You tried to win the cup tie and it didn't work out. That's okay. You tried to win. But you didn't even try and do that. You accepted defeat. I've just got a feeling that half the players will be bothered by tonight's loss. I've got a feeling, though, anyone above the players, don't think they're that bothered or we're out tonight, Gonzo. I don't think they're that fussed about the cup. Sullivan's glad he saved 50 grand for the next round. Moyes, I don't know. You have to assume he'll be disappointed, but going by the substitutions or the lack of them, you would suggest that he's not fussed either. It's just a sad night for West Ham actually tonight.
No, I just think that's not acceptable from Look, we'll get on to Felipe Anderson in a minute. That's not acceptable from David Moyes to do that. David Moyes needs to understand that if he's going to be West Ham manager, and I support him. You know this. I like him. I support him. I support his coaching style. I've probably done 5 or 6 positive David Moyes videos. I've got no axe to grind at all. But he's got to understand, if he's going to manage his club, he has got a responsibility to try as hard as he can at all times. And there is no way. I'll tell you something. You don't know this, right? Because you've been away for the weekend. Today, I did the Patreon breakfast show, right? And this morning, I predicted that midfield. Now, I know you mentioned it in a build-up. I didn't say it in a build-up, but I did. And earlier on, I predicted this midfield, and I said, if we do that midfield, Lanzini has to come in, and he has to drop deep, and he has to help out and make it a 3. I said that this morning on the video, right? I know that, and I'm just a geezer sat in a shed. You knew it, because you said it, right? So that's got to be obvious to people with their UEFA badges. It just has to be obvious. Everyone knew Anderson had to come off at half time. Everyone knew it. And as I say, I don't care. People will come back and say, oh yeah, but he made the assist. No, honestly, don't tell me that someone else in that position wouldn't have done that assist. Anyone else who'd have played on that left side of midfield today would have contributed more than Felipe Anderson, right? And let's be fair, it was hard. He didn't set Snodgrass up for a tap-in, did he? You know what I mean? He was on the 18-yard line. Anyone could see it needed changing. And so I don't think that we know better than Moyes. I don't. I think he saw it and he decided not to do anything about it. I think he saw how the flow of the game was going. He decided not to do anything about it. He saw what was happening to Yarmolenko. He saw how there was isolated. He saw what was happening to Felipe Anderson. He saw, how could you not? David Moyes used to play at centre-half. How can you not see what was happening with Declan Rice there? He knew it, he saw it, he observed it, he refused to do anything about it. And they need to understand that this is not acceptable. You know what I mean? They're welcome at West Ham. Do your job. We will support you. But do not throw us out of a cup competition like that.
The Declan Rice thing is a double-edged sword thing as well, really, because not only was he poor in centre-back, we were also missing him in centre midfield. There was like a double barrel shotgun thing for the Declan Rice thing. How he's kept him in the centre defence. He did our best run of the game as well. He ran down the left and tried to win a corner, but the whole time he was running down the left, he was looking for a bit of help that he got fuck all from anyone, really. It's just not good. Anyway, individual players, would you like to... I've got a feeling I know who's coming.
Right, okay. Let's deal with Ben Johnson. You've got to take something into account with Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson's 20. The Everton fullback was 19. Okay, he looked ready to go. I didn't think it was a good performance from Johnson, but what I will say about him is, I think if you go back and look back on that game, I think you will see 7, 8, 9 interceptions or tackles or blocks. He tried. He tried. He just didn't do very well. I'll say the same with Declan Rice. Declan Rice tried. He was actually useless. Balbuena, I mean, that's a really tough one. I don't think he was our worst player today. I felt he was one of the few that probably wanted to do something in the game. Cresswell looked confused. I barely saw Mark Noble for reasons that you have probably already said. They put so much pressure on him as soon as he got the ball. He was backtracking and running backwards. And a couple of times he was having to release the ball just as he was getting sort of pushed over. They gave him no space. They did press him rather well. Snodgrass, again, you didn't really notice him much at all because he just wasn't involved in the game. Lanzini tried, but it was just... We had no control of the game. How can he do anything? But again, he was poor. I said before the game that our attacking quartet, if you want, should worry and trouble Everton's defence. Well, they just didn't. Because I thought collectively, Yarmolenko, Haller, Felipe Anderson and Manuel Lanzini were blunt. Completely and utterly blunt. They offered nothing. They offered no threat at all. Unfortunately, there was... I mean, I don't think Yarmolenko's become a useless footballer. Yarmolenko has some credit in the bank. You know, he really does. Sebastian Haller, I guess he scored some goals. With Felipe Anderson, I'll tell you what, if we got offered 10 million for him, we should take it. And maybe even accept 5 just to get his wages off the books. Who is going to buy him? Who's going to buy that player? What does he do? He can't run past anyone. He can't. Every time he got to a point where I thought, okay, now you're in a crossing position, cross it. He didn't. The guy would tackle him, or he would basically kick it against the guy, or he'd get to that point and he'd crap himself and think, oh, where's Cresswell? Let me see if I can pass it back to Cresswell. I am gobsmacked. If I was in that meeting tomorrow, the team meeting with Nolan and blah blah blah, and Stuart Pearce think about. I want to know what Stuart Pearce thinks about Felipe Anderson. That's what I wanted to. Then I phone in Moyes. I wanted to phone me up and tell me what he thinks about Felipe Anderson. I bet he cannot be impressed at all. And I want to know what they say in that team meeting tomorrow, because I will expect them to say we can't play this guy anymore. We cannot play this guy. I know Nathan Holland's injured, but I tell you what, Nathan Holland would be 10 times better than he was tonight. Masuaku would have been, as you say, not good enough, mate. Not good enough at all.
I think Cresswell was not great, but not that bad tonight. There was other people a lot worse than him tonight. He gets away with it, if you like. I thought Vandorf did okay. Rice was horrendous. He was really bad. Declan Rice. It was it wasn't even an experiment. It was almost like a safe bet. We expect Declan to be able to play centre back. He was awful. He had a part to play in all 4 goals, and that's not good. However, he still tried. Balbuena I thought did all right. I think he's out of position for the 4th goal. I think he's in a defensive midfielder's role, and that allows the space. But at this point, his head's probably gone. He's probably watched the rest of his teammate do fuck all for 90 minutes and thought, I'm going to come steaming out the back now and start taking the law into my own hands. I'm probably being a bit harsh on Johnson, but I'm a bit concerned because he's now our first choice right back for the foreseeable future. He had too much to do. Yarmolenko didn't offer him any protection. But this is where it comes down to. It's got to come down to the manager and say, well, why are you putting Yarmolenko there? Do you know, you said, but we knew we'd struggle in midfield. But everyone that knows Yarmolenko will not track back. That left back is known to be an attacking left back. So we've allowed someone that just will not get back, leave, someone that gets forward a lot, to run at our young right back. And the thing that frustrated me most with Johnson in the first half, there was 2 or 3 occasions Yarmolenko made a really good run and Johnson just didn't pass it. He hesitated, he stopped, and that's what frustrated me more than anything. I thought, come on, we need to get the ball moving here. He'll come good. I'm just a bit worried that is our first choice right back for the foreseeable. I would have done the change at half time. I would have took Ashby on and said, go on then, let's see what you've got. Let's see something different. I'm more excited by Ashby than Johnson at this point, to be honest. Snodgrass and Noble, listen, I thought they tried hard. Both of them. I thought both of them tried hard. They're just not good enough, and they're just definitely not good enough to do that job in there anymore. I thought Snodgrass's passing in the first half was good. Second half, didn't see him. First half, didn't see Noble. Second half, thought his passing was slightly better, but it was only a bit more advanced and sideways at best. He tried one really good pass to Anderson. It got cut out, unfortunately. Had it come off, Anderson was away. but it didn't come off. So them two were just... I think it was suicide playing them two in midfield, and the fact that we didn't rectify it is deeply concerning. Yarmolenko cannot play on the right of with defensive responsibilities. You want Yarmolenko to create and score goals, you've got to allow him to stay in the final third, essentially. It's almost like he should have been in Lanzini's role tonight, Yarmolenko. He cannot do that job. Lanzini was just crap. He had about 4 chances tonight and missed them all. That one when Yarmolenko was a crap header by Yarmolenko, landed at Lanzini's feet, and he's completely ballsed up. I don't know what he's done.
It was obvious he wasn't going to get it. He should have known he was too stretched then. He should have known, actually, that I won't shoot. That's too far away from my leg. I'll get the ball, stop it from going out for a corner, and pass it back into the middle.
And I'm going to say something possibly you're not going to like this. I thought Anderson tried tonight. He's just not good enough. I thought he was putting in the effort. He was tracking back and stuff. But Christ almighty, at one point Creswell took 2 players with him. Creswell took Coleman and whoever's right wing for Everton at this point, probably Rodriguez. He took them both down the side of the box, gave Anderson 4 yards, and Anderson genuinely tried to play it behind the Everton defenders for Creswell to run onto. And you can see Creswell turn around going, what are you doing? I've done my job. I've given you the space. Sebastian Allaire is going to get a lot of stick because he's not done much tonight. But I'll tell you something, we put in one half good cross tonight. He chested into the bicycle kick. He was up against the centre-back, up to his shoulder. Within 10 minutes, the ball come down long, and Haller held off Dean as if he wasn't even there. He was just put his arm out, and Dean couldn't get near him. The rest of the game, I've barely seen Sebastian Haller get anywhere near. Dean looked comfortable at left back. This guy, he's the same height as you. You're small. Honestly, I can't believe that we did not challenge Dean in the air more often than that as centre-back. I just could not believe it. My biggest concern is, what are all these players going to do now? Anderson, Lanzini, when are they going to play? They were only getting played in the Cup so they could rest the first team. We know the manager will not make subs. So barring a big injury to someone, when is Felipe Anderson going to play for West Ham again? When is Lanzini going to play? Even Yarmolenko. Snodgrass is barely making the 18 against the likes of Wolves and Arsenal. When's Snodgrass going to play for West Ham again? We can't afford to have these players on these wages not playing football. But we've got to come up with a solution. Either you get them out for cheap as chips in the next 5 days, or you've got to start using them. And our manager suggests that we aren't going to use them. And I don't blame him with some of these players, by the way, David Moyes. I don't blame him. No. Not doing subs and not using those players are 2 slightly different things, in my opinion. Anyway, let's start winding this up. I'll be here all night. But what a disaster of a night, Gonzo.
Terrible, isn't it? Just terrible. Really, I just think there's so many people should be ashamed. Really should. Really, should be. They won't be ashamed.
What do we aim for now? 12th in the league? That's what we've got to look forward to. Might get the FA Cup. Might get a bit of glimmer of hope in the FA Cup when it comes round. But until then...
Well, how do you undo the damage of this when the FA Cup comes around? How do you, if you're Moyes, sit in the press conference and say, I want to win the cup? I said to you in the preview, the man says he wants to win trophies, but it's hard to believe him. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I never will get it. Everyone laughs at Steve McLaren. Steve McLaren's won. In fact, Steve McLaren's won 2 trophies. He went and won the Dutch title, and he won the League Cup with Middlesbrough, didn't he? Harry Redknapp won the FA Cup. Roberto Martinez won the FA Cup. There's no kudos to just surviving. It's such a low expectation. It's like being a bus driver and think, how was your day today, love? It was really good. I didn't crash. Do you know what I mean? It's such a low expectation. Basically, going out just not to fail. Try and win something. Try and do something to be proud of. And when it comes round to the FA Cup, this is my point. He's going to sit there and he's going to say stuff. I'm just going to think, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. You're going to throw people to the wolves. Unless... What was he expecting? Or honestly, what was he expecting? That we weren't going to get Everton now? And then in the next round we'd get Accrington Stanley or something like that? And then maybe we'd get to the final and play Slough Town or something like that? That's what would have to happen for us to win a cup. Because it's just not taken seriously. A disgusting performance, mate.
Yeah, I can't add much more to that. Disappointing. we'll look forward to trying to survive in the Premier League. Maybe a glimmer of hope of getting into the top 10 until the FA Cup comes around. Then we might get our hopes back up again. But I do think there's now immediate concerns over a handful of our players in our squad as to when are they going to feature for West Ham again. David Sullivan's concerned about paying 50 grand for this game. Well, I think he should be more concerned about paying 300 grand a week to players that aren't going to feature for us until the FA Cup rolls up, barring an injury. And I know Moyes might be making a signal to the board that he needs to get players in and stuff. But the point is, he's not using subs. He doesn't use subs. He uses 11 players until the 80th minute, and that is it. It's just not good enough. I just think Sullivan's let us down with these comments on TalkSport. He's gave us an insight into the mentality and culture at West Ham United, which is save money, don't bother with the cups, and we're a bit cheap. Moyes has gave us an insight into the culture of West Ham United, which is Premier League is paramount, and I don't really care about the cup. And some of those players have gave us an insight into their culture, which I don't really care about this football club. All in one night. good time. Anyway, Gonzo, I'm not going to ask you for man of match tonight. Is there anyone that you felt played half decent for West Ham? Not really.
Well, I'm glad you said what you said about Bob Werner, because I felt the same. It's hard, and I felt the same about Randolph, and that's hard to say in a team that's conceded 4 goals. Nice finish from Snodgrass, but yeah, you're right. You know, the virtual champagne. Nobody deserves to be drinking any champagne tonight. In fact, they all look like they'd drunk quite enough when they've been playing out on the pitch, quite frankly. So, yeah, not a lot else to say apart from that.
Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video somehow, please drop a like on it. Yeah, please drop a like on it. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. We'll be back with our Leicester preview later on in the week, and we shall catch.
It's not normally like this. If you're new to the channel, it's not normally like
this. It is actually. We're losing something we're used to. Catch you in a bit.